welcome back. We're on the chopper again. We've got a lot happening today. We're going to finish up the fuel tank. We're going to make an oil tank, start making the oil tank. We're going to find out what's blocking up this frame. So let's get into it, guys. We've got to grind the edge here, get rid of all this weld, and then we're going to try and pull it out. Looks like a little bit of the old brass bushing around this side, but it looks solid weld on that side. I'm going to grind this down so it's all level. Now I'm going to weld a bolt on there, and we'll use the slide hammer and see if we can pull it out with the slide hammer. Moving. I think when people do this, they don't realise someone might want to restore something one day and use it twice a day. Starting to move a bit around the back here. I can see it coming up, so I'll give it one more gouge at the front. So here we go. Okay, I'm going to let that cool down then and give it a bit more of a grind and have a look. Anyone with any ideas, give me a message in the comments. Appreciate everyone's help. Okay, I'm going to do a bit of welding on the tank now. I'll start welding the bottom in that, and then we're going to start fabricating an oil tank. Welding this at about 3-inch intervals, and that way the distortion won't be too bad. Work my way backwards and forwards. while it cools down, we'll start looking at this oil tank. A friend of mine's got a 53 pan head. He's talking about putting an electric start on it. So I'm going to make a pattern for an oil tank. He doesn't want to wreck his genuine 53 oil tank, so he wants to make another one that will accept a starter. So I'll have a pattern there for him, and we can help him out too. Okay, trusty cardboard. We'll make the pattern for the top of the tank first. Okay, so we're going to lay this cardboard in. I'm going to fold it in half. It's halfway in the centre of the frame. I just want the oil tank to come to the centre of this frame rail and follow the frame rail around. So we'll mark that as centre there. Centre there. Okay, so I'm going to cut that slightly bigger because we want it to go to the centre of the frame rail here. I'm going to keep it a little bit away from this because most rear fender mounts wrap over this, so we're going to leave enough room for a strap to run over the top. And I'm going to round these front corners. We'll make this probably in four or five pieces, top, bottom, and there's a few pieces to go inside because we're going to make the battery mount inside. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Put on the top to check it. That's coming to the centre of the frame rails, maybe just a little bit off the back. It's easier to make out of cardboard than steel for the first time. You get everything right and then you just copy it onto the steel. Okay, we've got a top. Success. Now we need to roll a piece here for the sides. Now this here isn't a 90 degree, so we're going to have to work out what angle that is, and we're going to put that on the back of the frame. If we cut a bit off that, how much are we going to cut off that? We'll cut it off to about here so we can muck around with it. We need this angle here, so I'll get that angle. So let's join these two pieces up like so, and that should give us the side of the oil tank. So we've got two centre lines. We'll line them up. The bottom will stay flat, and we'll bend these around slowly. There we have half an oil tank. We've got an angle downwards. Hopefully that angle should be the same as the frame. Let's have a look. Beautiful. Okay, now I'm going to compare that to a stock oil tank because the stock oil tank comes back here. So let's cool down a bit. So that's the stock oil tank. This has got like a welded seam here. I'm going to make this smooth. No gaps. And this has got a huge spot for a battery here. So I'll just get a late model battery that this guy will probably want to run into his electric start and just see how much bigger it has to be. So this is the standard electric start battery. As you can see, it's a little bit too wide to run in this oil tank, but There's a lot of space up front. So I think by putting this battery in this oil tank, you're not going to lose much volume at all. So I think I'll make it about the same size here. This will go back almost to the frame rails. I'll just get the oil tank set. So we remember this is where our frame tube was, so that goes, yeah, so that'll be pretty close. So I think I'll just take some, this is a stock oil tank, I'm just going to take some reference measurements off this and write it on here. I'm going to leave the bottom unshaped because on this side here, on this oil bag, there's a cutout for the chain, and this side I can make any length as long as it clears whatever's underneath it. So I'm pretty sure the electric start one I have to make, for my friend will have to have a piece carved out of here in bits and pieces. So what I've done, I've copied the angle off the back of the stock oil tank. I'm just going to fold that down. So this part here will be the same as that. As this poor old oil tank. Look at this oil tank here, look. That's what happens when your chain comes off and you don't run a chain guard usually. The chain bunches up on the sprocket and just push the whole piece of the oil bag out. So to repair that, what I'll do is I'll cut along this seam here, and I'll cut along this seam here and down the back, and I'll repair all this section here, fold it back in and weld it back in. It's quite repairable, but imagine seeing that on your nice, especially if it was a chrome oil tank. Okay, so we're just going to take a couple of reference measurements off this side. So that's about 160 at the rear. So when I'm cutting this out of the steel, I'll know what the standard one was. That's about 180 at the front. Okay, we've got the top, the bottom, the sides. These sides, as I said, we'll have to shape the bottoms so they clear everything. I could shape this off the stock one, which I might do for this particular bike. But with the electric start, it's going to be different. And then I'll probably put a bigger battery in this bike. I don't like the 6 volt, we'll go to 12 volt. So we've got that together. A bit more welding on the tank today. I'll get all the tank welded. Except for the fuel line fitting, which I'm still waiting for another one. I've used up all the ones I've had. Before we go, I'll show you a paint job I just finished. I get a lot of requests for skulls. We've got skull and smoke and shotgun. We've got skull and smoke and revolver. Came up cool with a good coat of clear. Okay, I'm going to unpack these babies. They're going to New South Wales. Hope the customer likes them. We'll see you in the next episode. And check out my new shirts, Skulls, Flames and Dames.